are you?
Really excited to be here. That's wonderful. That's awesome. Maybe once you have some chicken, it'll start to wake you up a little bit. My name is Neil. I do attend Harvest New Beginnings Church. I'm very blessed. Our family's very blessed to be at that church. I am a deacon, or one of the deacons at that church. And today I want to tell you a story about hope. About where do we find our hope? How is hope possible? In this world that we live in, with social media, TV, movies, everything trying to convince you that there is no hope. Everything is set to the negative. Everything is there to break you down. Everything is there to point you away from the gospel, to get you to believe that there is no hope. And if you believe that there's no hope, what need do you have for a Savior? Do you see what the enemy's trying to do? I lived many years believing beyond a shadow of a doubt that there was no hope. Now, you guys see me, who I am today. My name is Neil Rosenbaum, deacon at the church. Seems like I've got all my stuff together, right? Probably came from a really nice childhood, probably had rock star parents who were great and loving and caring. And I'm going to be honest with you, nothing could be further from the truth. In Illinois, I've spent a total of 9 years in the Department of Corrections. My name in the state of Illinois was K61197. That's what they called me. I lost my name, I became a number in the state of Illinois. My father was a professional thief. As I grew up, we bounced around from state to state to different federal penitentiaries because my dad would be shipped around from penitentiary to penitentiary. We'd be chasing him just to keep up with him. And when my dad finally did get released and decided he was done putting himself at risk, well, now it was my turn. He would stop stealing, but I would take over. I would be the one stealing the cars now. Now, my father never really liked me. Do you guys have any idea what that's like? To have a parent that you grow up with, that you're desperately seeking the love and acceptance from, and when they look at you like you're a disease, like you're a mistake, like they don't want you there. For all of you guys that have parents that are in your business, that are always hounding you, where are you at, who are your friends, why are you going there, why are you out so late, get on your knees and thank God that you have parents that care about you. Because there's so many kids out there that don't. And I was one of them. But you know what? I wanted the love so bad for my father, I was willing to do whatever it took to get it. And my father would show me appreciation, he would show me love when I would commit crimes for him so he wouldn't have to. And then before you know it, I was out every night stealing cars so my father would love me. Because out deep down, that's all I ever wanted. I just wanted my father's love. I just wanted my father to look at me and say, you know what, son, I love you, I'm proud of you. Even if it meant I had to do what I had to do to get that, I was willing to do that. Whatever it took. And it got so bad and it stretched for so long that I knew what I was doing was wrong, but I wanted the love of my father. And there was an internal conflict going on inside of me. I was being torn apart because I knew what I was doing was wrong. I did not want to do it. I was born for something different than this. I knew that. But I wanted my father to love me. So what did I do? With no hope, right? I put my hope in heroin. I became a severe heroin addict. So bad and so far that even stealing cars and even breaking into lockers and all that stuff wasn't enough for me to support my heroin habit. Because once you get to a certain point, you take heroin just to feel normal. You don't get high anymore. You do it just to feel normal, just to have a good day, just so you can function and not wake up like you're going to die. So I would just go out and start stealing whatever I could, until the one day it caught up with me. And I went into the local gym, and I snuck in real quick, and I was just gonna jimmy into a locker, break into a locker, grab a wallet, just so I could get my heroin fixed for that day, just so I could feel normal, just so I could function. And when I was done, the police were already outside waiting. They took me into cuffs and brought me to DuPage County Jail. Now, this would be my second time down, so I knew what I was facing when I walked into jail this time. Because of my criminal history, because of all of the unlawful possessions of stolen motor vehicles and all the frauds and all the various crimes that I committed, regardless of what crime I was arrested for in the state of Illinois, I was eligible for Class X sentencing. So that means I'm facing 6 to 30 years. My minimum would be 6, but they can sentence me up to 30 for breaking into a gym locker. And I knew what was coming. When I got through processing, I went up to, through DuPage County Jail. First thing I did when I got up there is I could get on the phone and try and reach out for help. And when I got to the phone, the first call I made was to my mother. And I called up my mother and I said, Mom, I got pinched, I need you to come and get me. Can you please get the money, come and bond me out? And her response to me was, Neil, you're an embarrassment to this family. How could you dare get caught? You weren't doing the things you were supposed to do. You were stealing for you and you got caught. Now you want us to come and save you? Don't you dare say anything about your father. If you say anything, it's over. Don't call me, don't contact us, don't ever call here again. She hung up the phone. That was the last time I ever talked to her. That was the last time. That was in the late 90s. My next call was to my fiance, who had no idea I was a heroin addict, who had no idea what I was doing. Because from time to time, I would work as a bar manager. I would work these little odd jobs to put on so people could justify where my money was coming from. And my next call was to my fiance. And I knew as soon as she answered the phone, just by the tone in her voice, she knew. It was the most terrible feeling in the world. And me being who I was at the time, I'm trying to spin her a story. I'm trying to tell her, hey, you'll never believe this. They got the wrong guy. I didn't do this. And I just kept spinning the story, and I could tell just from the way she was responding and the attitude on the phone that she knew. And then she said, Neil, stop talking. She goes, I've talked to a couple of friends of yours. I talked to your family. I know you're on heroin. I know you've stolen from me, and I know you've stolen from my mother. And if you do get out and you try and contact me, I'm going to have you arrested myself. She hung up the phone, and my life was over. Now I had no hope. The hope I had in trying to get my father's love was gone. The hope I had in this woman that I know beyond a shadow of a doubt loved me, that I kept all this pain and secrecy from, she was gone. I had nothing left. Has anybody in this room ever felt that? Do you know what it's like? Even if I had the money to bond out that day, I had nowhere to go. Your family's walked away from you. Everybody that loved you was gone. My life was destroyed. The guards started yelling at me over the PA system because it was time to lock up. Rosamond, lock up, Rosamond, lock up. And I could just feel this anger. I was so mad and just so distraught, so brokenhearted. It took everything I had just to walk away from the phone and go into my cell and allow that door to close because I knew what I was expecting. I've done this before. You want to talk about reality? Reality is when you walk into a room that's just a little bit bigger than your bathroom, and you know that you're going to spend the next 6 to 30 years of your life in that room. That's reality. And I know going down, I'm a neutron. I'm not gang affiliated. Prisons are run by the gangs. I'm not a North Center. I'm not an Aryan. I'm not any of those things, so I know what I'm walking into. I barely survived the first time. And I know what I'm going back to. I sat on my bunk, and I don't know why I did this. I've heard about God before. The girl I was dating would talk to me about God. I wouldn't listen. You're talking to me about God. You're talking about love. No one's ever loved me. You're going to try to tell me that there's a God out there, someone that loves me, and my own father doesn't love me. My own mother doesn't love me. You're going to try and tell me there's someone, but this girl, I could tell though, she loved me, and there was something inside of her that I was gravitating to. There's something inside of her that I knew I wanted to be as a part of my life. And I couldn't get enough of this girl. She was amazing. She brought me a love and a peace that was unexplainable that I got nowhere else in this world. So because of that time with her, I took a risk. And when I sat in that room, I sat in my bunk, and for the first time in my life, I talked to God. And I looked up and I said, God, I don't know if you're real or not. I've never seen you in my life. I've never seen you save me from my father. I've never seen you use my mother to save me from getting hurt. I've never seen you in my life at all. I said, but if you do exist, if you'll help me survive this, help me get through this, I'll follow you for the rest of my life. And that's what it happened. I fell on the floor. I couldn't move. I could feel things moving around me like a warm electricity. I could feel hands moving inside of me, like things were being taken out, things were being put back in. I could feel a breeze blowing across my body. But I'm in jail. There aren't any windows. So it was absolutely 100% God. I could feel the peace of the Lord. I could feel like he was fixing the damage. He was fixing the brokenness. He was taking everything that this world had put in me and replaced it with his intention for me. I woke up, got up, had just enough energy to get in my bunk and collapse on the concrete slab that was my bed floor. That night I had a dream. And as I was dreaming, I was pinned on the ground on my stomach. It was pure black. I couldn't see a thing, no sound, no nothing. But as time went on, I could see something in the horizon, something starting to come into focus. And I could start to hear noise now. I could start to hear voices. And as it drew closer and it drew closer, I could make out what it was. And it was the 3 crosses. And as it drew closer and as it drew closer, I could hear the Roman soldiers heckling Jesus. I could hear his family and friends pleading for mercy, pleading for his life, pleading for all of this to stop. And I was pinned down and was forced to watch the last seconds of Jesus Christ. And when his head fell, everything went black and a gigantic wind blasted over my body, and I could hear echoing in my mind, now what would you do for me? That's why I'm here. Since that day, when I woke up that morning, everything inside of me was different. That heroin withdrawal, does anybody know anything about it? Have you ever read anything about heroin withdrawal? It is the worst thing that can happen to a human being. And I've been on many drugs, I've never experienced anything like that. You are literally dying from the inside out. You don't miss it, right? If it happens, you know it's happening. Your skin is crawling, your bones are aching, you can't sleep. You literally feel like you're going to die. I was healed by Jesus. I never went through heroin withdrawal. He took all of it from me. I lost a desire to steal. I lost a desire to lie. And I knew what I saw that night. I knew what I saw, that was Jesus. I know that. I know it. So the very first thing I did is I walked to the guy in the pod that was considered the jailhouse preacher. I need to know more about this Jesus. Can you help me out? So the guy gave me a Bible, and I said, well, how do I find Jesus in this thing? He goes, just start reading the red letters. Take it from there. And I learned as much as I could about this man, and I've been in love with him ever since. And I've been going as many places as I possibly can to tell everybody that will listen that Jesus Christ is very real. And you need to understand how much he loves you. You see, a lot of us, or some of us, are playing the game, well, I'll wait till I hit rock bottom. I'll wait till I get to the end, and I'll get saved just like you, Neil. Rock bottom's not a promise. It's not. Don't wait. 2 weeks later, the guard comes over the paces and says, Rosamund, you got a visit. I'm thinking to myself, I don't know who this could be. I know it's not my family. They would never come to jail and come see me. They're probably afraid I ratted on my dad. I know it's not my fiance. She's gone. So I figured it was just an attorney visit. So I threw my stuff on. I was disheveled. I walked out there, and as I get to the visitation rooms, I'm looking through the different windows trying to see who it is, and I look over there. It's my fiance. She comes up to the booth. I sit down. I pick up the phone. I'm like, what are you doing here? She goes, Neil, don't say anything. Shut up. She goes, I want you to know that God told me that you are my husband. And I am supposed to walk with you through this. And if you're willing to do the right thing, and you really, really put in the work, I'll do it with you. She waited 4.5 years for me. 4.5 years, she put her life on hold because of the promise from God. She had no idea what I was going to come out and be. Her friends and family think she's a lunatic. You're waiting 4.5 years for a heroin addict to get out of jail because you think that God told you that this man's your husband? That's staggering faith. That's amazing faith. We've been married 17 years. I have 5 children. That's my fiance right there. That's my wife. 4.5 years. Most people won't even wait 10 minutes for a pizza. She waited 4.5 years for a promise. Because she believed God is. She believes He's His word. She believes that if God makes a promise, He's going to keep it. That's amazing faith. And her display of faith has made me a stronger man, it's made it so much easier for me to trust and rely on God, even though I've had all these wonderful things happen to me. 4.5 years is a long time. In your ideal window, when you're young and you're pretty, and she's still pretty, don't get me wrong, but you're young and you have all of these people trying to court you and all the pressure and your family telling you you're off, you're not, all this other stuff. She stood in there and listened to God and held on to the promise of God. And that's what we need to do too. You see, there is hope. Don't believe what the world tells you. There is hope. And that hope is Jesus Christ. Because everywhere else you go to look for that hope, you're going to be disappointed. Human beings will break your heart. They're going to disappoint you. Money, things, possessions, feelings, drugs, you name it, we'll go all the way down the line. All the things that captivate our attention, that make us feel whole, they're all going to let you down. They're going to disappoint you. There's only one way, guys. That way is Jesus Christ. He'll change your life. He'll take what was meant for evil and turn it into something that's for good. God He's a magnificent artist of making beauty out of ashes. Don't believe for 1 second that you're so far gone. Oh no, Jesus, no, he'll never say to me, I've done this, I've done that. Do you know? Think about this for a second. The torture and the beatings that Jesus Christ took for you, it was your face that He saw when He took that beating. It was your face that He carried that cross down all the way up to Golgotha. It was your face He saw. And can you imagine? Can you see it? Oh my goodness! As they put Christ up on that tree, could you see it now? All the warrior angels looking down, and they're grabbing their swords and ready to go down there and save Jesus, and they're getting ready to charge. All heaven's in an uproar, and God extends His hands and says, "No." I love them that much. I love them that much. This has to happen. He did that for you. And if there's one thing that you can take from this today, is that you understand the hope, the only hope that you have in Jesus, and how much He loves you. Thank you so much. I appreciate you guys listening to me today. It's been an honor to sit up here and share this with you guys. Believe in Jesus. And if you don't believe in Jesus, please feel free to come and talk to me or Pastor Matt. We'd love to sit down and talk to you about what that looks like. It's really easy. It's really easy. I encourage you to do that. If everything else in this world has failed you, if it hasn't yet, it will. Now's the time. Don't wait for tomorrow. Tomorrow's not promised. Accept Jesus Christ as your Lord and Savior. And live with hope. Thank you.